And we're getting ready to get into this part 2 of the Derrick Jaxn video where she's exposing all from her ex-husband, Derrick Jaxn. You know, I did the video 2 days ago. I wanted to come back live yesterday, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm doing this video so we can watch this together once and for all. Support the original creator. The link to the direct video is in the description. Give props where props are due. Let's go ahead and get this link and get up on all of the platforms. I gotta be honest, I'm not in the mood, but I want to get this done because it's Memorial Day weekend. So I wanted to acknowledge Memorial Day weekend for the people. Thank you who served and the people who lost their lives or gave their lives, and people who know people who also gave their lives. So I'm acknowledging Memorial Day weekend. I do come from a military family, so I know better than to say Happy Memorial Day, because for the people who gave their lives, and know people who gave their lives, there's nothing really happy about, the acknowledgement of that. So nonetheless, let's I see people are coming in and starting to comment. So let's go ahead and get live on all of these platforms. Here we go. So we are here. Let me get the link, put it inside the text. So text notification squad gets it. All right. I was doing some maintenance on the text notification squad yesterday. Just pruning out people with old numbers and memberships and stuff like that. For those of you who are on the text notification squad or who remember when I got started with the text notification squad, how long ago do you think it was that we did that? How long ago do you think we did the text notification squad? Because I thought it was maybe a year, right? No, I'm starting to give out. My goodness, I've said too much. So, okay, so I just sent out the text. Let me go ahead and get this link over to the people on Telegram. So welcome in, everyone. Welcome. All right. I just sent out, I'm looking at my face on the message that I just sent out. I have on no makeup. I'm just not in the mood. Yeah, I thought it was like a year, but it has been 2 years. This pandemic really ate out a big chunk of our lives, and I had no idea it'd been 2 years that we've been together. So we've grown so much behind the scenes. We are going to be doing we're entering into the next phase, which is a coaching group called the Sister Circle. I am thinking about offering a group for men, on a separate day, but just anyway, the link to take the survey is in the description below. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get live on all of these platforms so that we can get through this video. I thank you all for being here. Go ahead and get live. Let me there's the text that has gone out right there. Let me get this video up so that I can, when I go live on the other platforms, the video is here.
What did that do?
Oh man.
I didn't know.
Welcome in, everyone. Welcome. Let me get this right here. All right. Hold on. The only issue is that there's a 20-second delay. So look, for those of you who do want to join my coaching group, the link to take the survey is in the description below. And we will go forward from there. All right, let's go ahead and go live on these other platforms. All right, we're live on Twitch, we're live on Twitter, we're live on Facebook, we're live on LinkedIn, and of course, we are live on YouTube. Today is part 2 of the Derrick Jaxn expose, where she exposes all, where she is giving the details about, or from her perspective, of her and her husband's relationship, Derrick Street Meat Jaxn. Let me take this off the screen. I just really want to get into it. I forgot that I did not put the what do you call that? The screenshot up. Not the screenshot, the thumbnail. So let me get that thumbnail up real quick. That's what I should have been doing. Oh, goodness. I don't know. I'm not in the mood, but time is just going. So I'm like, let me just go ahead and do this now so that we can just be able to move forward and get into the stories that I do want to talk about. Because this story here, though I'm curious about what's in it, I'm not really passionate about the story because there's a lot of people who they're jumping on either bandwagon, Team Jaxn or Team Danae, and people are like, oh, look at her. She's come so far. You can tell she's telling the truth. No, you don't know who the hell is telling the truth. People are coming at me for looking at this with an objective eye. And I'm like, look, this is her version. You know, I mean, we all know when you tell a story, you tell it from your version as well. And the truth lays somewhere in between. I'm not here to gargle or nuts or let anybody slap me around in my face with their titties. I'm here to talk to you about your self-love lessons. My name is Tonya TKO. I am a self-love specialist from TonyaTKO.com. On this channel, we analyze videos with the intent of looking for the teachable moments in our lives, because this is all about us. Late in the midnight hour, when we are on our deathbeds, on our way out of this world, what we did with our lives are going to matter to us. Us analyzing other people and figuring out what they should have done for their lives. You will never know what you would do in a particular situation if you had the same exact rearing, the same exact experiences, and the same exact DNA. You would be doing the same exact thing. So I want us, when we look at this video, not to look at it for what you would have done, for how you would have done things in her situation. No, I want you to look at it in your life and how you're doing things now, because I have learned throughout this life that we are all susceptible to falling. We are all, because we come in, we don't have an instruction manual. We just come into this life and we're born to imperfect parents. She was born to imperfect parents. And so her life is hers. And hopefully she's in the process of working it out for herself. And even if she's not, I beckon you to hear her story or her version of events and let every word simmer over you as a way for you to see how you can do things differently in your life, how you can forgive yourself, how you can create a shift. Because as we speak right now, somebody's husband, somebody who's watching, your husband is cheating on you. Somebody who's watching, your wife is cheating on you, and not undercover either, you know. And it's easy to sit here and look at other people and talk about what they would not do, and you could not this and you could not that. Look, each and every one of us here, myself included, have self-abused at some point in the past or currently self-abusing right now. That's part of the reason I'm tired of covering these type of stories. I'm ready to dive into doing the work. If you're ready to dive into doing the work and you are considering coaching, join my coaching group. The link to take the survey is in the description of this video. All right, let's continue forward. Let's continue forward.
What did that do to you?
I became a shell of myself. I didn't know who I was. I actually have a couple posts on my page where it's like, I have a post that says, I knew her body better than I knew my own.
Stop. Let that sit there. You said you knew another woman's body better than you knew your own?
Yes, several women. I know several. I knew several other women's bodies better than I knew my own, and I spent a lot of time. Like I went in such a deep hole where I was like studying these women. I would go to their profiles and I would study their pages and like what they wear. I knew when they were when they had met up. So
Okay, you know what? Let's stop right here and let's just this is what we were talking about a few moments ago, right? Looking out at other people, analyzing them. There are two things, two takeaways that I get from this sentiment. If you know another woman's body better than you know your own from looking at videos and pictures, this is indicative to me that you don't know your body very well, because you cannot possibly know another person's body from looking at it. Better than you know your own, that means that you don't know your body. And while we are spending our energy outward, analyzing other people's pages, looking at this, like these are missed opportunities where we could be analyzing ourselves. So let's not miss this opportunity, and let's not make this about Danae. Let's make this about you. I'm making it about me. I'm thinking back to myself about the times that I had discounted myself, about the times that I shortchanged myself, about the times that I thought that the prestige and the esteem and the mentality that I had about having a relationship and getting a relationship and winning was more important than who it is that I was in the relationship with. I've had those times myself. I've had the times where I've had to say to myself, look, I love you, but I've got to love me more. I'm thinking about those times, and I'm thinking about how I can reach back and help some women who are going through this right now, or help some men who are going through this right now. This is part of the reason that I'm starting a coaching group. Let's go forward.
I watched their videos of them having sex, so I would try to imitate that and recreate that in our relationships so that he could choose me and want me.
I never imagined my
So, so right here, I mean, how many people can relate to that? That people act like marriage is the end of the equation, like that's the full stop. Marriage opens up a whole set of other insecurities. Long-term committed monogamous relationships that you enter into with another person opens up a whole other set of insecurities where now you are tied and tethered to this person for life. And you're going to age, you're going to get older, you're going to gain weight, lose weight. There's going to be a lot of different changes. You're going to be well, not be well. You're going to be up, you're going to be down. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. You're going to have shadow work that you're going to need to do yourself. And there are some people who are in relationships right now and your partner does not know the real you, because you haven't let down the guards. You haven't let down the facade. And many of these men, another one of my takeaways from this part right here is that many of these men talk about how they want an inexperienced woman, only for them to go out there in the streets and then go bang their balls against some other woman who knows what the hell she's doing in the bedroom, some woman who done been around the block. They're like, oh, I don't want you to have a high quote unquote, and I hate that word, body count. It just reminds me of some movie from when I was young. It was some Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's what it reminds me of every time I hear it. They claim that they want these virginal women, but these virginal women enter into these relationships and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know their bodies. They want them fresh out of high school now. Ugh. I was just looking at this movie. Just a quick segue. I was just looking at this movie. It has Nia Long in it, and she's kidnapped, and there's a girl playing her daughter who looks much like Zendaya to me. I don't know who this young lady is. I didn't check for her name. But when I was looking at her precious face, because the young lady is an amazing actress, because I really felt her pain. She really did look sad. When I was looking at her cherub-like little face, I thought to myself, what adult, what 35-year-old man would see this precious cherub-like face and think about violating this child? a person who hasn't had a chance to live yet, a person who hasn't had the opportunity to go out there into the world and experience anything. Like if you see a young person and your immediate thought is not to protect them, but to violate them or use them for your pleasures, there's something wrong with you. There's something is not right. Because when I saw that little girl, I really just I wanted to reach through the screen and offer some protection to her. You know, no, let's continue going forward. Oh, there's no sound here.
After the episode that y'all saw yesterday, now we are back at part 2. Make a commitment. Hit that subscription button and subscribe. Make sure that you join us.
Okay.
She gonna go
Happy birthday to me because it's also my birthday.
Yeah, it's gonna be your birthday in December. So
And you know what? I see her trying. There was somebody who was saying, somebody wrote inside my comments that her body language, it looks so peaceful and she's in her power. And this is not a power body language. This woman is in a literal seated fetal position. The only closer she could get to into a fetal position is if she put her legs up on the chair. I mean, she's trying, yes, but be not fooled. I'm not fooled by it. And that's all right. Not an indictment, but let's just keep it real.
we're gonna have Danae here. I want to gift her that
Thank you.
for Christmas. She gonna go.
Happy birthday to me because it's also my birthday.
Yeah, it's gonna be your birthday in December, so
Yes.
that's great. So we'll be there November the 9th through the 12th,
Yes.
and so it's gonna be absolutely
I
amazing.
don't know
So
what
the
all
hill-
of this is. Come
You
on.
know, like let's define a lot of things, okay? So
I understand what you mean when you go.
Oh, gosh. I feel like we missed something.
what is that?
Define not being inappropriate.
Hold on.
Very specific and crystal clear on here.
Define Z is gonna be what it is.
Define it.
Define commitment.
Okay.
About some stuff now.
Did we?
Yeah.
Listen, I
Yeah.
was just getting started. That was the pregame. That's the appetizer.
Oh, that's the pregame.
Appetizer.
Well, let me tell you something, because now the hashtag is defined XYZ is going to be what it is.
Define it.
Define commitment.
We have to be very specific and crystal clear on here.
Define wedded bliss.
What is that?
Define not being inappropriate.
Right. Define it.
Define it. Define it.
You know, like let's define a lot of things, okay? So
I understand what you
Can we
mean when you
define
go
moving
through what
forward?
you've been through, because when you deal with that certain type of personality, it'll make you have to rethink and restructure and reimagine what words actually mean, because those words can be used against you, and we'll dig deeper into that. And so now we left off, you're in your first year of marriage.
Yes.
And you found that Derrick was having inappropriate conversations with people from his past that he had a sexual relationship with, and then later on you began to find out that it wasn't just conversations; it had moved to actual sexual acts.
yes. And again, I didn't find that out until 2019. So we got married January 2018. I found out in November of 2019 that there was a lot of conversations that had turned into physical interactions from that point. So in that time span, I had actually began working on myself. I had 500 followers at the time.
Oh, look at you,
And
500 followers.
500. I was
There it
doing
is.
big things.
It's like you're doing something. You like, I
all
got
kinds
500.
of big things. I was known. People knew who I was. Okay.
He over here with 1 point something million. You had 500.
Everybody knew who I was. Okay. And so I had actually started a little journey on Instagram at the time with like losing weight. I had lost 66 pounds. I told you I had enrolled. Thank you. I had enrolled in therapy. So my therapist is like helping me through this time as I'm losing weight. And I'm like, yeah, I'm becoming a better person, a better woman. I'm becoming more secure, like in myself and confident in myself. Look at all this weight I just lost. I've been putting this work in. I'm fine.
After 2 kids.
2 whole
Yeah,
kids. I'm
yeah.
looking fine. Okay. And then it was at that point I'm like, I want to start traveling with you. I'm going on tour with you. So then he did the self-love tour with Steven Speaks
Yeah.
and all that, and I was there at almost every tour stop.
Did people know who you were
coordinating
when they
that.
saw you?
They did not know who I was until I said I'm his wife, and there was a few times where I had to. I mean, literally our team, because I coordinated our team to travel with us, the people that I hired to come with us, and they were literally like holding me back at some of these events, like, don't do it. And I'm like,
What were you about to do?
listen, I was not always saved. Okay, so there's when you have a husband that is in the spotlight, women feel like they can do whatever they want. They can talk to him.
Oh my God. This is frustrating. Oh God. You know, God, she's going through extra efforts to let people know that she wasn't always saved. Just, I guess because we Black, we supposed to have something. We supposed to, hey, like this little hen I saw in an old Looney Tunes doggone episode. I mean, God, it's like she just wants people to know she wasn't always saved, and women feel like they could do whatever. Look, dear, your man was online purporting as a single man. He was with these damn muscle shirts on with his damn breast squeeze. The dude's chest is larger than mine. Listen, I looked at a picture of him. So I looked at a picture of him, and my screen was scrolled up, and it was just like from the chest down, and I was like, what the hell? Take a look. He has some big chesticles. So look, your man was out here in the streets. You say nobody knew who you were. Of course, these women want to try to put their claws in. And from what it is that we hear, and he was on the take. So, of course, I mean, come on. He seemed eligible. He was talking that talk that all the women loved to hear back then, of course.
How they could touch however they want. Oh, you're so fun. These little touches turn into something else.
Some more
He was for the streets, dear. Your man was for the streets. Oh my goodness! Of course they was doing a lot more than touching him, girl. What you talking about? This is why you was on tour. Oh my goodness! Oh my God! This is.
touches.
Other touches, right? There was a lot of that. There was a woman that was bold enough to sit on his lap, and he didn't even do anything about it. And I had better words from at that time because I had been in therapy, so I was practicing those tools. And it still was like, okay, well, this is part of my job. This is what comes with it. You have to be more secure. And I'm like, I'm secure, but it is not okay for this to happen, And so that just kind of became a dynamic throughout the rest of the tour, but we made it through by God's grace. But yeah, there was a couple times where they had to hold me back.
So he welcomed you on the tour.
No one had to hold you back. No one. Stop it. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I don't mean to keep stopping it. How many people here think this young lady has ever gotten to the point of fisticuffs? Oh, come on. Hold you back from doing what? From putting on your battle bonnet and what? I mean, come on.
You just stay at home.
He didn't tell me to stay. He let me come. I was running things. I
let you come on the tour that you organized. Damn it, we ain't never gonna get through this video. You see why men like wives, right? I need to get me a wife, somebody who could organize all of my tours and do my customer service and hire people and do all of this. This is why they're panicking now that so many women don't want to settle down.
I was taking pictures of him and all the people, and I, when it got out of control, I would give a look and be like, I am his wife. And Oh my gosh, can't believe
Because I
it.
didn't know he was married. I didn't know he was married until
No
the
one
infamous
knew.
bonnet video. I never knew he was married.
A lot of people apparently didn't know he was married, but he did make a couple of videos here and
Were you on his? Oh my gosh! Oh my god! This is frustrating. No one knew about you, dear. No one knew. Were you on his social media? Did he have a banner? Did he ever say, "This is what worked in my marriage"? For all the years that he was talking his talk, did he ever say that? Did he have up the wedding photos? You said you had 500 subscribers. No one knew who you were. 500 people. Ugh. And those are probably people from college and high school or random people who, whatever, came across. This is just ridiculous.
there that said he was married.
What video was that?
It was a long, like probably like when we first got married, he did a video on YouTube where he was actually live on YouTube. And it's still, I don't know if it's still up there, but he talked about our marriage and how we got married and all that. And then Don't Forget Your Crown, he talks about me and him and our relationship
Is that a
and us
book?
getting
What is
married.
it? What-
Yeah, that's one of his books. And he talked about us getting married, which was his number one like book outside of A Cheating Man's Heart series. I got something for y'all.
I saw some shade right there.
But
She said a cheating
but
man.
it is. It's called A Cheating Man's Heart, and it's the 3-part book. Outside of that,
She's
Don't Forget Your Crown is
advertising
right
his
there where he
books.
talks
She's
about me and us. My name is all up in the book, and our relationship, parts of it are in there.
He said parts.
And so
The man be throwing his little shade up. You got to catch it because she just toss it out there a little
I
bit.
am a woman of God. You know, like I have integrity and
She
but
said parts of it.
it is. It's the truth though. There
Oh
are
my
parts of
God,
it in
I'm gonna
there
get
and
to
parts
take
of it are
this.
true. So he did talk about it a little bit, but it was not this, like, you know, how we see most people like, oh, this is my wife.
Yeah.
You know,
You ain't going to see no
you're not gonna
Gabrielle and
see
Dwayne
that.
Wade type of stuff or
Right.
Sierra and Russell.
Right.
You know.
Right. And then
He
when I
didn't
started
publicly
asking
claim
for that, it was
you.
like, you gonna make the block hot. And I'm like,
You heard
Type
that,
of
right?
stuff
Right.
for Sierra and Russell.
right.
You know.
Right. And then when I started asking for that, it was like, you gonna make the block hot. And I'm like, I don't care if I make the block hot. I'm your wife. And
He's going to make the block hot.
so,
What did that mean to you? What do you mean by that? When you say you're going to make the block hot?
well, by the time I was really like forceful, like, hey, you need to take a stand for who you're. If you're saying you want me, you need to take a stand. I need to see this translated. And it was like, well, you know, it's like, okay, I'm just coming off of this, gonna make the block hot. You know, like I had to let go of these people and they're gonna be upset. And I'm like, I don't care.
They go, what are you talking about?
The women.
He didn't tell you that. He didn't tell you that if you come out and share, if he comes out and share that y'all are married, that he would have to let go of women.
He was saying that he had to let go of these women right behind the scenes. I'm gonna make the block hot, or he's gonna make the block hot, or I'm gonna make the block hot for him posting me after he's let go of these women because their feelings are gonna be hurt, right?
Are you talking about women that you knew about
Right.
prior to the marriage?
Prior to the marriage, in the marriage. Okay, so when I was very
Taking me too
forceful
fast.
about it,
Yes.
when I was very forceful about it, we had this is, you know, like 2 years ago, you know, so we already in the marriage. So when I was like, you need to take a stand, you want me back, this is what needs to happen.
Okay, so we fast forwarded.
Yeah.
So this is when you took because you mentioned in part 1 that it was an 8-month.
Yeah, so I was gone for 8 months. So I left in February of 2020 I left Georgia and I went to Denver and I slept on my mama's couch with my 2 kids for 8 months. And I
What
stayed
made you
away.
leave?
There was a lot. It was a lot going on at that time. I had already knew about the infidelity since Thanksgiving, around the Thanksgiving time where we hosted his whole family in our house. And that was the hardest thing I had to do, to sit there and be with his family and all that. I went to Thailand with my mom and my best friend a couple weeks after that. And I I was talking to the Lord and I was like, okay, Lord, I can't continue to do this. And I was like, okay, you need to choose between the condo and the family that you created. Right. And I really feel like I heard that from the Lord to ask to tell him to do that, because he was spending a lot of time. We had a condo and then we had a mansion. And I was in a mansion, a 9,000 square foot mansion by myself with 2 kids, more nights than I should be. Like the people that clean our house were in there more with me.
Wait a damn minute. So he was living a single life in a condo. How was anybody supposed to know that he was married? He had a whole apartment. This is, this is an opportunity for each one of us to look at ourselves and see, in what ways have we discounted ourselves in relationship? In what ways are we discounting ourselves right now, where people are telling us something that is not making sense to us and we are not standing up and advocating for ourselves? Is it happening to you in family? Is it happening to you at your job? Is it happening to you with your children? Is it happening to you with your mate? Are there things that you are doing to yourself that you're discounting yourself and you're not standing up to the negative self-talk that you're having in your own mind? Where in your life are you discounting yourself right now?
And the kids than he was. And so I really feel like I heard that from the Lord, like, hey, choose between the condo you're spending all your time and the family you created. And he got so upset. Like, what do you mean this? Like, and I'm like, you need to choose like what you're gonna do. And at that point I still had not told him that I know about all of the stuff.
Again, that's amazing how you came out and talked about it in premarital counseling, and then now you withdrew again and didn't bring it up again in marriage.
Right, because that scared me. Okay, all of the anger that I received after just telling him how I actually felt, like how I was impacted by his decision making in that time, and his reaction to that, it was not like that didn't invite safety.
Yeah.
That didn't invite like, oh, continue to do this. Like I, at that point, still had not even unpacked the rape trauma. So all of that is like fear. Like, okay, if I continue to talk about this, it's going to push him away. We're married now. I'm definitely not trying to get a divorce and be left with these 2 kids by myself. And, I quit my job to be a stay-at-home mom and to work with him. And, so I just withdrew within self. I had not overcome all those things yet. I hadn't unpacked all those things yet. So fear, I was almost like intimidated by him. And then you add on some things that I had not dealt with my daddy issue. All of it kind of equated into me withdrawing back into self, into my little shell. So again, I had to unpack all of those things just to get to a point to be in a sound mind.
So when you left, what did you say when you left?
I didn't say anything.
He just came home one day, he was gone.
Well, he was at the condo. He decided he was going to go to the condo because we had a big falling out.
So it's a condo in the same city?
Yeah, it's in Atlanta. It was in downtown, midtown.
So you had a condo in a house?
We had a 9,000 square foot mansion in the same neighborhood.
You're not
that,
listening,
the Migos,
sir?
one of the Migos people, I don't even know their name, but one of them lived like not far.
So why do you think you need a condo for?
He needed a condo so he could record. I was told the condo was supposed to be for business, for recording, to get this look, for the webinars and all that.
Wasn't he recording from his damn car? What's going on? Wasn't he recording? Listen.
That was what that was for, but little did I know we was out here living our best lives. Whole full-blown relationships.
Little did you know.
Okay, so
I would want to say duh on that. Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like if you have a whole condo, first of all, if you really want to do something, you got a 9,000 square foot house, you can put a whole studio in that 9,000 square foot house.
Right, but no, we have kids, it's too loud. There's all these things, the reason why that couldn't happen.
Sure, you could have built the studio in the backyard of that bad boy.
There was a lot of space.
I imagine so. In Atlanta, the 9,000 square foot house, I can only imagine what that backyard looked like.
Ridiculous. Right? And so, yeah, so he had the condo it's supposed to be for business, but he spent more nights there than he did at home. So anyway, he ended up going back to the condo because
He had a date.
I had said some things like as it relates to scripture that he didn't like agree with and all that, and it just turned into a big thing. And I was like, you need to be delivered. I learned a lesson. You just can't come at somebody and be like, you need to be delivered. So I learned a lesson in that
He said, "What? You learned that you can't tell somebody
you just can't be like, hey, you need to be delivered. You got demons. I didn't know that though at the time.
because you was a new Christian.
I was new.
Yeah, you was new in this thing.
I was new. I was just like, I just found out about deliverance. So
How much more of this are we going to be taking? You needed to be splashing that nigga with holy water. That's what you needed, talking about. You can't tell people they need to be delivered. He needed to come inside that house as you had a vial shipped to you straight from the Pope himself, from the papal. You needed a papal glass jar with a gold lid on it. And you needed to be splashing him. May the blood of Christ redeem you. Whatever they were saying in that Exorcist movie, this is what you needed to be doing, girl. This is ridiculous. She thinks that she said that he left because she said some things. No, he probably started the argument with you so that he could leave because he had a date. You know his balls was aching. He had to go sit outside somebody's job, masturbating. That's what he had to do. He had places to be, girl. This is ridiculous.
This is okay to say, like, you need to be delivered. And you need to be delivered. This is why. And I know 2 people that can do it. So we need to figure it out so we can go. You can get delivered. I get delivered. Everybody's happy, right? Yeah, that doesn't work out. Apparently, people get very upset. And not only do they get upset, they think you're crazy and you'd have lost your mind. So I went through that. I said that, and then I'm crazy. He said I'm crazy and all these things, and I need to get a mental evaluation. He called my mom, which is how my mom got involved. He called my mom like, hey, you need to come check on her. And then my mom is calling me like, what's going on? And then I'm telling her all of it because at the time I didn't tell her all of the stuff that was going on. And now I'm telling her all of it because I'm like, okay, I don't have the capacity to deal with this. I got these 2 kids. I am not crazy. He has a demon inside of him, like he needs to get delivered.
I just want you to take a look at him. The story that you're hearing, is it this funny? The story that you're hearing of this woman who says she had postpartum depression, bad. She has 2 children. Remember, all of this is within the span of 2 years. Because by 2020, this is when this vlogger leaked, his affairs publicly. Is it this funny? We're talking about a woman who had postpartum depression, bad. She's holding in all this stuff, hasn't processed trauma. She's seen her man go out there. He has videos recorded of him with multiple women, so much so that she could study these women's bodies and moves. And she's trying in her best way to try to put it down. She's there in that mansion. She's like, come on, honey, let me put this down on you, boy. Let me get this to the left. And she trying like, oh, come on, let me do it. This how I saw it. And she trying, but it ain't enough. The man is still running out into the streets. He's running to the condo. She's unraveling, screaming that he got demons, saying he needs to be delivered. I can imagine. Because if this is her version of the story, what is the reality? Did she have a Bible in her hand, chasing him around the house, screaming out these scriptures in the ways that we've seen her doing, trance-like? Well, what was really going on? How did it really go down? for him to call a woman that he has had, her mother and Derrick did not get along according to her, right? And he called her mother to say, you need to check on your daughter. Listen.
And I'm trying to help him to get delivered, you can't come that aggressive. So that was a learning lesson. I learned that in ministry. That was my first introduction into ministry. So
what brought you into Christianity as an adult? Because you said when you were younger, you were introduced to it when you were younger, but then you renewed your faith, recommitted. When was this?
So this was around the time, I know we talked about how he got his hair cut by a girl that he had sex with. And it's around that time I enrolled in therapy. I had 3 therapists at the time.
Yeah.
And it was around that time I was like, okay, there's something seriously wrong with me and I need to figure it out. I cannot go another year like in this condition. And so I was just doing everything. I'm like, listen, whatever I can get into, God is the answer.
And plus, I had money, so you can just go pay
I'm gonna try whatever I could try, like yoga, like what else you got? Like God is the answer. So let me figure that out. Let me get in Bible study. I'm calling my mom like, when is your Bible study group meeting? I need to get on a video call with y'all, because I'm in Georgia, they're in Denver, and so I started doing that and. And I was like on and off with that a little bit, but then I started having some like weird dreams and things like that where I felt like I always had to fight, and like I would go through the day, I'm like, oh, I feel like I have to fight, but I don't know what I'm fighting.
That's good.
Like I don't know what I'm fighting, and then my mom was like, okay, I was waiting for you to get to this point.
Yeah.
And she's just sitting here waiting the whole time, reading me my whole life, and she's like, okay, there is a spiritual war going on.
There it is.
And you need to decide who you're going to serve.
Yep.
That's what she said to me. I was like, what? What do you mean? I already served Jesus. She's like, you need to decide who you're going to serve because you have not been serving my Lord. And I'm like, okay. So
that's good.
Once I started pursuing, like taking this, when she said that, I was like, okay, this is real. And then our daughter started having some like night terrors. But it was some crazy like paranormal activity type of stuff happening in our house. Like when I say stuff moving, when I say lights turning on by itself, when I seen our daughter literally get picked up out of her bed, there's a camera in the room and on the floor, like nobody's.
Prophesy, Papa.
What is going on right now?
Prophesy, Papa.
So you're married to a man who is a multimillionaire. And then stuff starts happening inside your house and you're going to call it paranormal? Listen, it might be time to move or look around and see what's really going on because somebody might be trying to make you seem crazy so they get you out the doggone picture. The next thing you know, an accident happened. Come on.
In her room.
I believe in all that.
Nobody. Night terrors. But it was some crazy like paranormal activity type of stuff happening in our house. Like when I say stuff moving, when I say lights turning on by itself, when I seen our daughter literally get picked up out of her bed, there's a camera in the room and on the floor, like nobody's in her room.
I believe in all that.
Nobody's in her room. And I was like, what do I do?
Please publish this footage of your child being picked up from the bed and there's no one in the room because I want to see this. You said there's a camera in there. Post the footage. There's a lot of stuff going on, but if you're talking about you seeing things and there's parent this, that, and the other, and this could be cause for concern. And this man is sitting here talking about, I believe all that. It would be time for you to move. The hell are you staying inside a house with some paranormal act? I can only imagine what this situation looked like. I could only imagine.
Besides calling the name of Jesus, I don't know. So that's what really started because I'm like, okay, now my child is being attacked. I got to take it serious. It's one thing with me, But now my child is being attacked. She's 1.5, 2 years old at the time. And so I started really going down that path. And I didn't really tell him because he was, he's
Yeah.
at the condo
Yeah.
working. so he's out, he's providing, and I'm out here.
Give you that nice little soft life you live in.
Yes. And I'm like, yes.
So you can have 3 therapists and
Exactly.
all that.
Listen,
Don't confuse what she was going through with no soft life. She was a hard life that she did hard time in that bit. What is he talking about? Now they're trying to lambast the soft life movement and confuse it for this foolishness?
Shout out to all 3 of them therapists. They had their work cut out for them. And yes, so.
And so what was the
If she had 3 therapists, she probably to be quite frank, she probably was committed, and she probably had to be, remember she said that she was forced into therapy. So she was probably committed around the time that she started doing all of this, talking about she's seeing things flying around the house and moving and paranormal activity and her child being lifted up. And she says she ain't talking to him about it. But if you inside of a house with some paranormal, you need to get the hell out of this house. If you feel that it's real, then just a lot of this is just not really adding up. So she was probably committed. She probably had a therapist from the program into which she was committed. She probably had a pharmacologist, someone to prescribe drugs to her. And she probably had a therapist, because the pharmacologist does not do talk therapy. Or maybe she just had 3 psychotherapists. I don't know. But yeah, something about this is just, it's not seeming right.
the breaking point for you to get up and leave and go to Denver?
So when he said I was crazy, because I'm like, you need to be delivered and we need to go now, and this is what needs to happen.
So he called your mom and you said, forget it, I'm going.
I was like, it took a couple of days. And I was like, okay, I feel like I can't just leave. So I'm like, okay, we need to go to therapy. We need to work this out. And I'm texting him because he's like not answering my calls. He's like, if you come to the condo, I'm going to call the police on you.
Wait, what the fuck? I'm like, what the fuck? Hold on. Wait. Listen. Oh, fuck. People say date your spouse, but they took it to the next level because they was really acting like they was dating. He's like, don't come to my house or I'm going to call the police on you. Girl, you ain't had keys to the condo? Whose name was this condo in? Why do you need to call him before you come there? Why you can't show up at your condo?
Okay. I was texting him. I'm like, okay, we have to figure out how to work this out. The best way for us to do this is for you to come here and we can figure it out. Like, and he was basically like, I'm not coming back there. Like, I would rather be separated from you than to be miserable with you in the same house. And I was like, Mom, my bags are packed. When can you be here? And she was on the flight the next morning, flew in, and we drove, or I can't even say we drove. I drove like 80 miles an hour to Denver.
All the way from Atlanta to Denver.
Yes.
How long is that trip?
It's a 24-hour drive. I drove the first 15 hours pretty much straight through. She had to force me to stop driving.
You were just motivated on adrenaline.
I was, adrenaline, and I was just like so upset, and then I was kind of scared too because I'm like, I can't believe like I'm actually doing this. He's gonna freak out when he realizes that I'm gone, because I didn't say anything. I didn't send my phone was actually right. My phone was actually turned off at the time because there was like a little financial crisis that started happening around that time too. So my phone was actually turned off. So I was like, this is
the fuck? What? Her phone was disconnected because of a financial. He cut her off financially. She wasn't getting an allowance. She didn't have money put aside. When listening to stuff like this, you have to figure out what the truth is, because wow. What does this sound like? She's seeing things. Let's ask the questions. She's seeing. Oh, you know what? We need to check the apples. Let me check my light is down. I want somebody to check this QR code and see if you're able to scan this QR code and send an apple through that way. But so she's seeing things. She's hollering out about, biblical stuff, talking about he need to be delivered, and she's seeing lights turning on and off. She's hopped up on she got all of this energy to drive 15 hours straight, right? She's doing all this. This sounds like someone who's having an episode. That's what it sounds like to me. That's what it sounds like.
You ain't gonna just slide by that financial crisis. Had your phone cut off.
My phone was cut off
How
at
y'all
the
live in a
time.
9,000 square foot house and your phone get cut off?
He was working at the condo, so
It could have been a financial crisis, just oversight of
okay.
the bill being paid.
Yeah.
Because you can't have a 9,000 square foot house.
I don't
and your
know.
phone
I wasn't
getting
even
cut off.
involved with the finances, so that's what I've been told. So
You've been told.
yeah, because I wasn't involved in it.
He
So
just told you what?
it's a financial crisis. It was a financial crisis from what I understand.
Define financial crisis.
Define it. Define it, because there was sure a Lamborghini.
That's what I'm saying. And Bentley sitting up here doing car videos with a Bentley.
There was a lot of stuff. So I don't know.
This
Where
dude
it
was
all
driving a
went,
Lamborghini.
but
I'm doing something wrong.
we had a financial crisis and my phone was turned off. So at that time it was turned off, and
Well, how
Was
long
his
it cut
phone
off?
turned
About a couple
off?
hours.
days.
See, I don't understand that.
Days. And so it kind of worked out, because then he couldn't immediately call me, and my mom's not answering the phone. So there's that. But by the time I actually got to Denver, he was already there. So
He was?
he was.
He flew down there while y'all was driving.
He flew, and he was at my mom's old address because he had looked her stuff up online and went to her old address. Didn't realize that she had moved, and so he was at the wrong address. And I called him when I got there. I was like, okay, at minimum I could call him when I'm actually there.
Yeah.
Let him know. He's like, I need let's talk. He's standing outside. I'm outside. I'm like, outside where? And it's snowing, and he's like, I'm outside, let's talk. And I'm like, she doesn't.
This sounds like a whole lot of goddamn drama. This what this sounds like. This sounds like a whole lot of goddamn drama. She done ran off with the children. She claims it's because he was spending all this time at the condo. What it sounds like to me is the person who was having an episode took off with somebody's children, because think about the alternative that Jaxn has in this situation, right? Think about this objectively. I'm sorry. Were you all able not seeing that? I'm sorry. I need to listen. I'll rewind that for you, because I don't think I had it up on the screen. My bad. I'm sorry. I rewind it for you. But think about it. Think about this, right? She claims he was spending all of these nights at the condo, right? She says it took her 24 hours to drive to Denver. But by the time she got there, he was already there. How long is a flight from Atlanta to Denver? Let's see. Flight time Atlanta, Denver, right? All right. A nonstop flight from Atlanta to Denver is 3 hours and 15 minutes. This is what I am seeing right here, right? 3 hours and 15-minute flight time. It took her 24 hours. Her phone was cut off, so he was not able. So if he was a person who was used to being at the condo for quote unquote days, right? He wouldn't have known that she had taken the children and left. He wouldn't have known that, because he would have been at the condo for days, especially if the way she's trying to make it sound, right? So a person who may have been having some sort of episode, hollering about all of this stuff, takes 2 young children and leaves, right? She claims that there's just so much of this that is just, look, this is very interesting, very, very interesting. I know why she ain't come on a show like mine, because them holes would have been poked into this story And the truth would have had to really been told, because if you're gonna talk, tell the truth. If you're gonna talk, like really be real with it to really help people, really. Like
Car videos with a Bentley.
There was a lot of stuff. So I don't know where it all went, but we had a financial crisis and my phone was turned off. So at that time it was turned off, and
Well, how long was it cut off? About a couple hours.
days.
See, I don't understand that.
Days. And so it kind of worked out, because then he can immediately call me, and my mom's not answering the phone. So there's that. But by the time I actually got to Denver, he was already there. So
He was?
he was.
Or he flew down there while y'all was driving?
He flew, and he was at my mom's old address because he had looked her stuff up online and went to her old address. Didn't realize that she had moved, and so he was at the wrong address. And I called him when I got there. I was like, okay, at minimum I could call him when I'm actually there.
Yeah.
Let him know. He's like, I need, like, let's talk. He's standing outside. I'm outside. I'm like, outside where? And it's snowing, and he's like, I'm outside, let's talk. And I'm like, she doesn't even live there anymore. And I'm like, I don't think I should be coming out right now. Like, I just got off the road. We just got off the road, and my mom is in the background like, you just got off the road. You are not going anywhere. And then she's on the phone with someone and shit. They're like, you get off that phone. He can wait. Right. And which then brought in a whole nother dynamic, because it's like, your mom is controlling your behavior and your actions, and she's keeping you away and telling you what to say and what to do. So then that became a whole nother dynamic, and I'm just like, head spin.
So how long did it take for you to connect with him while he was in Denver?
We met the next day. We met at IHOP, and with the kids. My mom dropped me and the kids off, and he was like, how long are you gonna be here? And I was like, I don't know, a couple weeks, still not saying like, I know, about all this stuff that's going on. And he was like, well, like, you just gonna leave? Like, how do you just gonna leave like that and not say anything? And I'm like, yeah. Like, you decided you wanted to stay at the condo. I can't stay in this house by myself. And so he's like, so you're just gonna keep the kids away from me? And I'm like, I'm not even trying to do that, but I take care of them pretty much by myself. Been doing it by myself since they were born, essentially, mostly, as far as the main care of them, outside of financially, which apparently that's a big deal. If you provide financially, that's the only job you have. So I did not know that. I'm learning though. And
define, provide.
Right. And so, yeah.
And so he's there. How long did you stay in Denver before coming back?
I was there for 8 months, and he traveled there almost not every week, every other week. He was there every month.
So what was your plan?
I was just trying to survive. At that point, by the time I got to Denver, I was like unhealthily, like skinny, like I was malnourished.
Were
I
you
hadn't
depressed?
been eating. I was depressed. I was malnourished. Like literally, I'll try to pull up a picture of my phone so you can see it. But I was malnourished. Like they had to like force feed me to like get me back to a state where I could just eat properly.
Who was they?
All the stuff that I had been dealing with and holding in. Like I was dying. Had I not left Georgia at the time, I would have died in Georgia. Like I had been in the hospital. They couldn't figure out what's going on with me. I'm bleeding out of places. They're like, I don't know why you're bleeding like this. There was so much stress and stuff going on with my body at the time. Had I not left at the time that I did, I think I would not be here right now.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
And so I stayed there for 8 months, and then literally my family that knew that I was there, because everybody in my family didn't know I was there, and they were feeding me to make sure I got back to helping me with the kids, taking that on so I could really just do my therapy and just recover mentally and emotionally. And I started going to one-on-one sessions, Bible studies, counseling, and really unpacking some things from a spiritual aspect and going back into the spiritual aspect of like not having the father with the abandonment and the rejection, and then learning about how that translates into like Jesus was rejected. He was abandoned and all that. Like I had to relearn all that happened in that 8. in that 8 months. And from there, I started journaling to the Holy Spirit and giving him all the details. And this is where the Lord began to speak to me like, hey, you need to write out all these things that you've seen, that you've been trying to tell such and such. You've been trying to tell that, you've been telling the therapist, you've been telling all of them. That's great, but they can't take the pain that is in your soul. They can't take that out of you.
Yeah.
Only I can take that out of you. And so I began to do that. And then I have literally notebooks of the trauma and the pain and the videos, like the details and all of that I have seen, all of it, of giving that to the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit, I invite you into this. I'm giving you the details of this, down to like the tattoo, the mole, this, like all the details. I'm giving you all of that.
What tattoo?
I'm saying like of what I've seen, of the women, of the people.
Seeing everybody's body parts.
Right.
How does that feel? I want to spend a little time on that, because that's some serious trauma. When it happens the first time, like I said, I've been in environments where I've walked in and seen stuff that I didn't want to see. So what did that do to you?
I became a shell of myself. I didn't know who I was.
Sir, why don't you ask your ex-wife? Oh, yes. Why don't you ask your ex-wife? Because you have this Dear Future Wifey podcast, but word on the street is that you're an infidel, that you're a philanderer yourself. Why don't you ask your ex-wife what that felt like? Talking about you've walked in on some situations. Oh, I bet some situations done walked in on you, sir. Allegedly, right? Why don't you ask your ex-wife what it felt like for you to be taking your marital penis and jamming it into other women? My goodness. We endear ourselves to these men. Oh, he has a Dear Future Wifey podcast. Oh, he's a good man looking for a woman. He had a woman. What did you do with your woman, sir? What did you do with her? Why are you divorced right now? I mean, why is it that we are not talking from personal experience? And because people were like, this is why he's cackling. And people then sent me some links, transcripts of things that he allegedly said on podcasts, talking about how, let me try to get his face up large on my screen. Is there a larger picture of his face? No, there isn't. There isn't. It's just Denia. It's just her. Oh, somebody said he's going to address it. Okay. All right. Wonderful. I can't wait to hear that. Because he's cackling and laughing at all of these really touchy, traumatic, painful points, knowing that the type of man that he is the type of man that was cheating on his own wife. And then from the transcript that I read, that he was cheating on his wife with one woman. He was with this woman so long that he said that he had to be with multiple women because he didn't want the other woman to feel like they were exclusive. So he had to go get multiple to spread it out. Yeah, this is what I'm hearing. Yeah, let me check the apples. All right, there's a bunch of apples that have come in. Let me read these. Let's take a quick apple break and take a look at these while we wait for her to answer these questions. Right? Oh, you all hear that? All right. So let's see. So Linda sends 1212 and says, it has like a yogic hand, prayer hands, and I can't see what the other one is. It's too little. These emojis be so small. Thank you. I appreciate that. Elise sends $5. And if you want to send a cash app, the name is Tonya TKO. It's $Tonya TKO. It's in the description. I'll type it here for you all. www.cash.app/. dollar sign. It's a hold on, that's not a forward slash. Forward slash dollar sign TONYATKO. And I just put that there. It's also in the description of the video. And it is, I can put I have a little QR code that you all can let me know if the QR code works. Let me see. Let's see. Where is my QRST LMNOP? Where is it? There it is. Okay. So here is the QR code for the Cash App. I'll put that right there on the screen so that you can, if you want to send the Cash App through, you can send it through there. So Elise sends $5 and says, "Thank you for what you do." Thank you. I appreciate that. Ooh. Wow, that's loud. I'm sorry. That needs to be turned down. JJ sends $5 and says, "The QR code works. Yay! Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that." So the QR code works, so you can send it through the QR code, which is right there on the screen. Let's see. Shaisha sends $2 and says, "He even picked up on the financial discrepancy. Look, something is going on." Tyra sends $1 and says, "For heart." And Christine says, "Sent using the QR code. Keep up the good work." Yay! So the QR code does work. Thank you. Thank you. Kenneth sends $10 and says, "Apples, love your content." Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let me refresh. We need to take another Apple break in. Elaine sends $1. Thank you. I appreciate that. We're going to take another Apple break, and I say maybe about another 20 minutes. So if you want to send it through, you can go ahead and do that. Let's jump right back into this video. I am your host, Tonya TKO. And if you are just joining me, we are going over the second part of the Derrick Jaxn interview on the Dear Future Wifey podcast, where she is spilling all of the details according to her point of view. She's spilling all of the details about her and her ex-husband, Derrick Jaxn.
That translates into like Jesus was rejected, he was abandoned, and all that. Like I had to relearn all that happened in that 8 months. And from there I started journaling to the Holy Spirit and giving him all the details. And this is where the Lord began to speak to me like, "Hey, you need to write out all these things that you've seen, that you've been trying to tell such and such, you've been trying to tell, that you've been telling the therapist, you've been telling all of them. That's great, but they can't take the pain that is in your soul. They can't take that out of you.
Yeah.
Only I can take that out of you." And so I began to do that. And then I have literally notebooks of the trauma and the pain and the videos, like the details and all of that I have seen, all of it, of giving that to the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit, I invite you into this. I'm giving you the details of this, down to like the tattoo, the mole, this, like all the details. I'm giving you all of that.
What tattoo?
I'm saying like of what I've seen of the women, of the people.
Seeing everybody's body parts.
Right.
How does that feel? I want to spend a little time on that, because that's some serious trauma. When it happens the first time, like I said, I've been in environments where I've walked in and seen stuff that I didn't want to see. So what did that do to you?
I became a shell of myself. I didn't know who I was. I actually have a couple posts on my page where I have a post that says, "I knew her body better than I knew my own."
Stop. Let that sit there. You said you knew another woman's body better than you knew your own.
Yes, several women. I knew several other women's bodies better than I knew my own. And I spent a lot of time.
This just means you don't know your body.
Like I went in such a deep hole where I was like studying these women. I would go to their profiles and I would study their pages and like what they wear. I knew when they had met up. So I watched their videos of them having sex. So I would try to imitate that and recreate that in our relationships so that he could choose me and want me. And that is a low point to be. And I'm tearing up a little bit because that I hate that I even got to a point where that was a thing, but that it was just that. And so I knew several other women's bodies better than I knew my own. I completely lost myself. I became a shell of myself. I tried to imitate their hair, their actions, even sexual things that I had seen him doing with them. I tried to recreate that in our life when we were engaged, and none of it amounted to anything. And so I just became more like depressed, more withdrawn, because it's like, I can't share this with him because then he's going to leave, right? Because I'm still operating off of that abandonment and all of that. And so it's so crushing. And there's not really words to put like what happens to you when you see that. And you don't just see it one time, but you see it multiple times, and you see it multiple times over years. What that does, and then you compound onto that rape trauma, you compound onto that daddy issue. Like, there's no way for anybody to survive that mentally and emotionally without God like intervening in some way to literally pluck that out of you. It's so crushing. There's no breath in my body.
What
There's
brought you
many
back?
ways to overcome it. Therapy works. Therapy works. Therapy works. We can't say that there's no way to overcome it because therapy works. There are people who are non-religious who overcome and overcome well. Therapy works. You have to do the work.
Months you were away, you're restoring yourself not only physically because you're malnutrition at this time. You're about to lose your mind. You got 3 therapists. You're now participating in your mother's Bible study groups and all that. So you've been edified on the spiritual level. 8 months away, he's coming in to see you and the kids. What made you say, I'm going to go back and I'm about to recommit to this marriage?
I gave him a list of 13 things that I needed to recommit. I had fasted and prayed on it, and I'm like, Lord, if I go back, there's some things that I need. I gave him a list of 13 things that absolutely needed to happen.
Do you remember some of the things on that list?
Yes, the first thing was that we needed to have spiritual counsel. Like, we had to engage for a minimum of 6 months. He had to schedule time for me and the children within his work schedule. And he had to create the schedule, not me create it for him.
Fair enough.
Okay, he had to change his numbers because he had 2 phones at the time. He had to change both of those numbers. Then he had to get rid of all of the women. That means like anybody that he had any type of relationship with, whether it was sexual conversation or it was actually physical, they had to go, all of them. That we had to renew our vows. And those are a couple off the top of my
Why was it
mind.
important to renew your vow?
Because I feel like we built it on a faulty foundation.
Good.
Our marriage was built on a faulty foundation, so we had to reset that thing. And the vows that we took were not necessarily rooted in God, at the time from either side.
Yeah.
And so we had to really reset that. And again, I spent some time in fasting and prayer to develop that list with the Lord. And it's like, okay, this is what needs to happen. And so he did not do that immediately, which is why I spent 8 months away. But towards the end, he started coming into doing a lot of those things. And then he started pursuing one of the deliverance ministers that I had told him about. He started flying everywhere this minister was. And I could see that visually. Like, I could watch it on YouTube. I'm seeing him there, and I'm seeing him get some deliverance, which he did. And I'm like, yes, Lord, you're answering my prayer. Okay, I can feel good about coming back now. And again, this is against like my mom and the other people in the Bible studies. Like, they're like, you need to wait and let him continue to go through the process. I'm like, I'm grown.
Yeah.
I can do this. And so I came back off of that, and I believed in that, and I knew that he was like on the path, and we were very heavily connected with some people in the church that were helping us and all that. So,
and I would say, fair enough. Like, you're the wife. Your mom, of course, she's trying to cover you. She is going to advocate for you. But at the end of the day, you had to make that decision to say, Because at the end of the day, it's not healthy for a wife or a husband to be living away from each other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You work through those problems with each other. But I do believe that at the state that y'all were in, that he did need to actually show and tell, and to prove that he wanted to fight for the marriage. And so you saw that and you felt the unction.
Fight for the marriage or fight for his children to not be across the country. You know, this is very I don't even know what to say. I think that there's something just a little what's on my spirit to say is this, right? What's on my spirit to say is, allow people to have access to their children without it being necessary to be tethered to you. Um, I just something about, taking the children across the country and saying, well, if you want to live in the same city as your children, then you need to do all of these things. You have to satisfy all of these demands, things that they don't necessarily want to do, and things that did not naturally come into the evolution of participating in. It's like I went on a healing journey last year, right? And I just came back from I went on a sabbatical this year, where I went away for more than a month, right? Maybe about 5 weeks plus, something like that. And I came back and I put on a little bit of, I put back on some of the weight that I had released, right? I've got some of that back because even I like myself a little bit more, more plump or whatnot. But one of the things that I had to ask myself was, what is it that I want? How do I want to go on this next leg of my journey? What do I want that to look like? What do I want that to be like? And I decided that, okay, so I put on a little bit of the weight. Let me see, when I participate in the health gaining activities that I participated in before, let's see where the dust settles, right? Let's see what my body looks like, because as you all can see, I'm quite strong because I work out. I work out almost every single day. So though I have released weight, I've picked up a lot of muscles. My body is my muscles are toned and I'm looking good, right? And so now that I'm not in the version of the healing journey that I was at before. I'm at this new stage and I have to figure out for myself, what is it that I want? What do I want my life to look like? And these are decisions and directions that I have to choose for myself. I cannot be forced into it. Other people cannot be forced into change. It's like there has to be a, a, a mind shift. There has to be a mentality shift. I think Albert Einstein says that the mind that the solution cannot be found by the same mind, or the problem cannot be solved by the same mind that created it, right? And so it's like people need to be able to come into a new mentality, because there is a death of the old you. That old you has to die. You have to become a new person with new habits, new eating habits, new workout habits, new spiritual habits, new self-worth habits, new morning routines, new evening routines, new areas of the grocery store that you shop in, new things that you do that are different, right? And net is saying married people don't just walk away like they're dating. Girl, let me tell you, these people, their relationship was worse than damn dating. He was, single while she was tied in this matrimony, and she's losing her mind and health. Marriage is a piece of paper. It's a contract. However, what do the people inside of the contract show up as? He violated their marital vows. He violated that contract willingly, over and over and over again. This is the natural him. This is the real him. It's like you're trying to force a person into behaviors that are not natural to them. And so what do? You use the children as a bargaining chip and take the children across the country so that if he misses his children and he wants to be with his children, he has to participate in these actions in order to be able to come into contact with flesh of his flesh. If he wanted to see you, he would have been in the damn mansion. If he liked being with you, he would have been at the mansion. If he wanted to be there, he would have been there. He liked the setup that he had. Listen, believe it or not, there are men out there who like their women. There are men out there who, when something happens at work, when good news comes, when bad news happens, their woman is the first person they want to reach out to. When he wants to celebrate, when he wants to share, when he wants to pontificate and come up with new ideas, when he has an inspiration, he wants to call you. He wants to be with you. There are men out there who enjoy their women. If your man is living somewhere else, it's because he does not want to be there. Naturally. There's something about the union, there's something about the relationship that doesn't resonate with him. He doesn't want to be there. He's not showing up. I mean, am I off base? Am I saying something that's just bonkers? He doesn't want to be there. If he wanted to be there, he would have been there. There's something about his personality. It's not your fault. Just not a good match. Taking away his children, punishing him and dangling them out as this, because apparently whatever it is that was going on in him, he wants to be with his children. He wants to raise his children. He wants to be in the same space as his children. This is why he would fly cross country to see his kids. But he wouldn't come across town to be in the house with you. He just doesn't want to be there. So allow that man to have access to his children and remove yourself from this relationship. Save your peace, because at the end of the day, right? If there is anything else besides a person's want and desire to be in a relationship, forcing them to be in the relationship, then you don't really have them. And I'm talking to all of us. Listen, I've been in situations before too. Listen, we all, any woman, any womb holder who's been in a situation with a slippery man knows the temptation of using or having a baby to create an everlasting bond with that man. All of us know the temptation. I know the temptation. But at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, and we have to be real, right? Because if he doesn't want you for you, if he doesn't want to be in that relationship, there's really creating another human being to tether him. You don't really have him. You don't really have him. And then you have to sit there seeing him in love with these children and apathetic about you. Listen, you heard what I said. You have to sit there watching him bounce these children on his lap and see him show up for the children and see him be just neutral about you. I can imagine that that's an even worse type of pain. I can imagine that that is painful in a whole different way. Matter of fact, let us check these apples real quick. Let's see what time it is right now. Yeah, it's you know what? I'm gonna give you all a few more moments to scan the QR code, get the apples in, and then I'll check those in just a moment. So
to go back.
Yeah.
And then, so when you got back, what happened?
When we got back, when I
And
got
give me
back,
time frame. So this was in 2020 or 2021 now.
Okay, so this is 2020. I came back. So when I came back, I didn't go back to Georgia. This was part of the parameters. Like, we need to leave Georgia. Georgia's not the place for us. There's too much.
Too much access.
I saw somebody who put up a comment that went by really quickly and was like, of course she's going to take the kids. She takes care of them. And she had to leave that house to be with her mother. She did not have to take the children to Denver. She did not have to take the children across the country. This is a married woman who has children. Who has the right? Who has the right to take somebody's children and because she says she's taking care of them? Apparently, he knew within a few hours that she was gone with the kids. No parent has the right to take children away from their parent. If you need more parental involvement from the other parent, if you need more parental involvement, then speak up about that. Leave the children with your partner and go get your me time or whatever it is that you need. Going across the country. This is a married woman. This is not a child living with her mother. She is. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Way
Emphasis on access.
Lots of it open, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like,
Ms. Dara says she has every right. Fuck no. Let me say this so that everybody can fucking understand what the fuck I'm saying. No parent has more rights than the other parent. Not one of them. No parent has more rights than the other parent. Each parent has rights to see their child. Each parent. I understand that we women push children out into this world, but a father has a right to see his child. You do not have more rights than the father. I mean, come on, what is it that we're saying? Does a father have the right to pick up some children and take the children into, 7 states over? Does a father have that right? If he's the one who's caring for them day in and day out while the mother's at work, the father has the right to go take the children and go to another state, abscond them, and then participate in parental alienation? No. I mean, what is it that we're saying? She had every right? Absolutely not. If that is the case, show me where it says that in the law books. If she has that right, then that means it is her legal right, right? Show me in the law books where it says that a parent has the right to move to another state without telling the other parent and what? How are you going to have visitation? How is he going to have visitation? How? Come on. This is unbelievable. And ladies, we need to do a better job. I know that you all are going to say, oh, I'm male identified and all of this. I'm talking about balance. Don't you see the child is having night terrors? The children can't sleep. All this turmoil in this doggone house. Children need both parents. They need both parents. And I understand that sometimes we feel like that they don't, but they need both parents. If you need more parental involvement from another parent, then do what it is that you need to do to get more parental involvement. Do what you need to do. But and we know that this woman is very calculated. She knew that that was the way that she could hurt him. She knew that that was the way that she could get his attention, that she could get him to pay attention and to listen. She's doing all of this hiring and all of this other stuff. It's very interesting that in some way she had all of this power to do the hiring, to set up these tours and to do all of this stuff, but then had no access to the money. So I mean, if you see that it is not working, if you see that the marriage is not working, and remember, this is her account. This is what she is saying. We don't know what the truth is. This is what she's saying. We don't know how much care she was or was not giving to the children. She admitted that she had severe postpartum depression. She was in a manic, well, I don't want to say, listen, from what it is that she is accounting, it sounds as if she was in a manic state. But yet she claims that she was the primary caretaker for the children, and it seems as if she was having a hard time really even taking care of herself. So what is the truth? I don't know what the truth is, and neither do you, but you're going to sit there and say that she has every right. A woman who has clearly demonstrated that she may be suffering from mental health issues. Even by her own account, she was talking about the state of perhaps delirium that she was in, talking about paranormal activity inside of the house. And then she's taking these young children out of a home from a man that we have never seen. We have never seen him behave in a manner that shows that he may be mentally unstable or unfit. She has behaved in a manner to show her and demonstrate her to be mentally unstable and unfit, according to what it is that we have seen. So what right does a person who may be mentally unstable, going through some sort of episode, have to take children cross many states? Come on. This is, I don't understand. I understand that we're women and we have to stick together, but let's listen to what it is that we're hearing. Somebody says she had every right because what? Let's see. She had every right because he wasn't there. He was at the condo. According to who? Show me his travel documents. Show me his GPS to show how much time he was at the condo or wasn't at the condo. Remember, this is her account. This is what she is saying. People lie all the time. These are her words, and this is alleged. We don't know how much time he was or was not at the condo. We don't know. But we know in less than 24 hours, that motherfucker knew that his kids was fucking gone. In under 24 hours, he knew that she was not there. These are all claims. Remember, the truth lays somewhere in the middle, and it's up to you so that you're not out here getting fooled. It is up to you to discern what is fact from fiction with what someone is saying. But please remember that whatever somebody is saying, all of it is not truth. Ms. Dara is saying, wasn't worried about them kids until she was gone. Prove it. You cannot prove it. You do not know. One thing that we do know is that one parent does not have more rights than the other. And Nicola is saying her mother and family was there to help her. Exactly. So if she needed a break so that she could see her therapist and all of that, then drop the kids off at the condo, and then you go and you get the help and the sabbatical that you need and make him a full-time single father. And if he wants your ass back, he will find a fucking way. Let me tell you, the big sign is if he really truly wanted her back, leave the kids with him then and see whether or not he misses the relationship with you. Make sure he got a nanny or whatever it is to take care of the kids so he can work, and see whether or not he misses you. See.
Really feeling Texas. I feel like it's equal distance between both of our families as far as travel time. I'm thinking Houston.
Brown paper is saying, don't defend that dude, Tonya. Show me where I'm defending him. We do not know what the truth is. I'm speaking fact, that he has never shown himself to be mentally unfit publicly. She has. She does not have the right to take the children across the country. She doesn't have that right. This isn't defending him. This is defending the truth. Call me whatever it is that you want to call me, but I'm defending the truth. I'm not on her side or his side. I'm on the side of the fucking truth, because at the end of the goddamn day, you need to be looking at this situation for lessons for your own self-love. And her performing this stunt, taking the children out of state, kept her in a marriage where now he has to take this package deal with her, and then brought her into a situation where now she has another child with him. She had 2 children when she left. She decided to enter back into this fuck show of a situation, and now she got 3 kids. And now she's fucking single at the end of it all. 3 kids and single. This shit could have been over before the first child. This shit should have been fucking over before the first child. This woman deserves to be happy. And when I'm talking to you about self-love, I'm talking to you about your own happiness. She put him above herself. And she allowed herself to create human beings that she brought into this fuck show of a situation, this boondoggle. Goddess is saying it's not a stunt, survival. Listen. You don't know what it was. You really don't know whether it was survival or not. You don't know. You don't know. Were the children unsafe in his care? If she needed to survive, then there are things that she can do to survive without taking the children across country. Is he a danger to the children? She never said he was a danger to the children. She said he was at the condo. Listen, all right. I'll go forward. I'll go forward. I'll go forward. Somebody is saying, Tonya, you're passionate because you had a father who was in your life. So that's the angle you're speaking from. Okay. Listen. We all have had, every woman here who has dated and has had intercourse has had to make the decision about whether or not she wanted to procreate with a man, right? And whether or not you felt that his parental involvement was important. You had to think, do I want my children to have a father like him? She chose to give her children a philandering father. She chose that. She chose that. She chose to create human beings in a situation where it was unstable, where she didn't really have a firm grip on this man, where she became a baby mama. And she could have stopped right there, but she was in a position, she was in this mindset of wanting to win. Yes, I have a father. Yes, my father takes care of me. Yes. I understand the importance of paternal involvement. I do not know what it's like not to have a father. So I can only speak from my point of view, but I can imagine that if a person did not have a father and they knew the pain of that they would understand how important it is for children to be in communique, in contact, and in the presence of their father.
But he was getting Dallas. I was like, okay, like, let's go. Okay, so we're going to Dallas. So he ended up packing up the whole house pretty much in Georgia. And after I told him he needed to get rid of a lot of things. And and then I met him here in Texas, and we started here in Texas, and it was like, it felt great. Like, it felt good. We had people here.
If your mind isn't right, then you do not need to be trying to care for young children. I just read someone's comment.
In the church that we were meeting with regularly, and we were looking for different places, like where we wanted to settle down. We started in Plano and went to a couple of different places, and so I felt like it was like on track. Of course, there's always issues, right? We're still recovering from whole trauma, right?
Yeah.
Like we're not gonna skip past the fact that there was all these women involved in the marriage
Right.
that I'm still dealing with. On top of now, I'm actively unpacking the rape trauma at the same time that I'm dealing with the betrayal trauma from the infidelity. Like all of it's happening at the same time, and so he was very supportive. I feel like he was very supportive and understanding, and like, okay, what do I need to do, and all these things that I couldn't have asked like for more of, So
And then when did the infamous bonnet video, when did that take place? When
So
was
that
he
was-
outed?
that was 2021.
So
that was in
everything was
March.
going. So everything was going pretty good.
Overall, yeah,
Overall,
overall
y'all
everything was
new start.
Yes, overall it was a new start. We're still just kind of unpacking just all of the stuff, right?
But
And
he's
so-
doing the work, y'all.
Yeah, he's
y'all
doing-
have a spiritual oversight that's
Yeah,
helping y'all
he's
walk through
doing
some
the-
stuff. He's
he-
spending time with the kids now.
Yes.
He's scheduling time with the kids. Did y'all renew y'all vows?
We did not. That was one of the things that did not happen. And
Need I say more? Need I say more? I mean, you all hear and you see what the F it is. Need I say more? He didn't renew those vows. He was spending more time with the children, yes, but them vows?
that was something like, okay, we need to put it on the priority list, and it just never it never happened, clearly. But
Right.
that did not happen. But all the other things were going. I'm like, okay, we can get there. All these other things are
Change his
important.
numbers, both his numbers.
He changed both of the numbers, but apparently people still had access. So
This is what I'm saying. Because he did not want to change. It's like you cannot force another person to change. You cannot. You can't force another person to change.
did not know that, Apparently iPhone has some weird technology where you can have like these secret messages.
Oh, for real?
Listen, I don't know. I don't have an iPhone, so. But apparently there's a feature on there. So
There's a feature on there.
there is. So, but yeah, so he was doing some things that I was like, okay, we could work with this. There's progress in this area. I don't expect perfection. I expect progress in tangible progress.
So
that I
would you
can
be
see.
okay with I'm not messing with 10 women right now, but I got about 2.
No.
That's
So
progress,
it was
ain't it?
right. So that
Define
was
progress.
Right, define progress, which I did. Surprisingly, I was very specific. I said there 0, none. Right, because we do have to be very specific here. We cannot leave any blurred lines or nothing like that. I did actually clarify to him directly. I said, I mean, like when I say 0, I mean 0, right? Because then we have to define sex, right? Okay, oral sex is still sex, which was not counted as sex for some reason in other conversations. So we had to get very specific. So I was very clear. Hey, when I say 0, I mean nothing. I mean, like, I don't want like no friend, like everybody. I don't care what business connection they are. I don't care what their status is. I don't care how many followers they have.
Yeah.
I don't care. All of them need to be gone.
Facts.
And so,
But for everything was going great.
it was going
2020
well.
till when?
Well, everything was going well until
Overall.
the
The
Tasha
video.
K came out with all the stuff, and that was in March of 2021. And so from there, it was just like everything just came back up to the surface again, like
Was
fresh,
that new to
open
you?
wounds.
But when she revealed in 2021, was you blindsided by that?
No, because he had already confessed to the 11 women that he had been with, which the 2 that were on there, or the 3 that were on there, had already been on his list of people that he gave me. And we had already been working on dealing with it and all of that. And so that information wasn't new. But what happens is that, it uncovers that wound all over again, right?
Yeah.
Because now, not only on a private level, but now on a public level. And so now it's like open wound all over again. And then at that time, just 2 days before that, we found out we were expecting our third child. Literally the day it was released on that platform, we were at his stepfather's wake. And so we're dealing with grief, we're dealing with expecting our next child, and now we're dealing with this all at the same time. And then it's like that following Monday, we're on camera, and I'm like, it's a helmet of salvation. Yes, this is what's needed right now. That's all I got. Right? All I know is it's a spiritual attack. Helmet of salvation. That's all I got. It's protect your mind. Right now, my mind is being attacked, and I need something better than therapy.
You know what? A lot of people don't understand this too, is that you're in the midst of trauma. A lot of times most people can identify with what you were going through. They may have dealt with somebody that have cheated on them, but they've never dealt with somebody that was cheating on them. They got, 2 million. How many combined followers does he have?
Over 4 million.
4 million between Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. 4 million. Now, here's this private woman who has always been shy her whole life. She's been the quiet girl sitting in the college campus. And now she has always played, back office to his brand. And now she's thrust. The first time we ever hear her was in this video dealing with trauma of him saying, hey, listen, yes, I may have been I may have done this. And it's the first time we see this woman in front of this large, vast world of judgmental people saying, why she got her hair like that? Why she look like, why? And now they're picking you apart, some people giving him an excuse. Oh, we got to rebuke people who do that. Giving people an excuse, a married man an excuse. Well, I see why he cheated on her then. Look what she looked like. She probably was the type of woman that didn't keep herself up. No one knew that you were pregnant at that time. No one knew that y'all had just came back from a funeral and a wake. No one knows that. No one knew that you had been covering him all these years up until this point, being this supportive wife, being this woman who was not some girl that was like, I don't want to have sex with my husband. You're saying, I want to perfect this thing. I'm over here trying to model what these other women are doing so that I can give my man the best sex so he can choose me and leave them alone. No one knows the inner struggle that you're going through. No one knew the abuse that you had come through. Haven't overcome it yet, but you have come through it. No one knew that here it is, this woman who never wanted to be in this spotlight is now sitting right here in front of the world being picked apart. Right. And that's the reason, Danae, I said I want to make sure that I had a makeup artist come make you look absolutely beautiful and like you needed it. But I said I want to make sure that they didn't have nothing to pick you apart from.
I appreciate that. I appreciate all the care and the just basic human dignity and respect that you've shown me, which apparently is hard to get just being me for whatever reason that is. And so, all of the public scrutiny that I endured in that time, I'm like, it's almost like a headspin. It's like, what is going on? I don't even know how to respond or react. All I know is that my mental and emotional state is right now in danger. And if that goes, then everybody's going to die. Yeah. Literally, physically. Yeah. Had I not had the helmet of salvation, or at least knew that.
What did she just say? If her mental state goes, everybody gonna what?
Like scrutiny that I endured in that time, I'm like, it's almost like a headspin. It's like, what is going on? I don't even know how to respond or react. All I know is that my mental and emotional state is right now in danger. And if that goes, then everybody's gonna die. Yeah. Literally, physically. Yeah. Had I not had the helmet of salvation, or at least knew that scripture, I really would have committed suicide. And that's the state that I was at in that moment. And I'm pregnant with a child, right? And that embellishes all the emotions that you already have just outside of that.
Gone through postpartum depression twice with the other kids, and here you are right now dealing with all this.
Severe postpartum depression. I'm pregnant again. Just found out I was pregnant again, and I'm like, Lord, I mean, when am I going to get a break? And you know what? The only thing that came to me in that moment was Job when he was getting attacked. you know, and his finances, his marriage and all that. And that's where the whole helmet of salvation thing came from. It's like, I'm recognizing this as a spiritual attack. I understand.
You know what troubles me? What troubles me is when we run headlong into situations and then act as if life is happening to us, right? We are creating our lives with the decisions that we are making. The decision to enter back into this marriage, the decision uh, to want this man above all else, the decision to continue in this farce, the decision to continue this boondoggle. It's like, what is it that we want? And we really have to think, do we want mental health or do we want this man? Do we want peace or do we want this partnership? And you have to choose yourself. Was it worth it? At the end of the day, was all of this worth it? Now you talking about not wanting to be here on this earth and unaliving yourself in a situation that is orchestrated by actions to want to continue to be in this farce of a partnership, right? With a person who is clearly exhibiting some very troubling behavior. Listen, something ain't right. Something ain't right with Derrick Jaxn. Something is off with him as well. This whole situation is off. She off, he off, this damn interview is off. This whole thing is a boondoggle. This whole thing is a boondoggle. Let me read these apples real quick. Let me read these apples. All right. So Key sends $5 and says, future book could be why she has holes in her story. You talking about her future book? Well, tell her maybe she'll take you up on your idea. $5 for recognizing mental state. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Kalia. Thank you, Key. I appreciate that. Whew. Listen, let's take a quick 1 minute, 12-second break by going into a commercial real quick. Are you tired of missing Tonya TKO's live videos? Arriving late when the video is well underway or about to end? Are you fatigued of only seeing a live video randomly while perusing YouTube and Facebook? Or worse, randomly unsubscribed? Well, now you can get a text notification whenever I go live. No longer are we dependent on the algorithm of these fickle platforms. For just $1.99 a month US and Canada or $4.99 a month international, you get a personalized text message 15 minutes before each live show. Now you can show up early with the Text Squad, meet other people from all over the world, and get invited to secret broadcasts off platform. Most importantly, support your favorite independent creator. Go to TonyaTKO.com and click on text. Join the TKO Text Squad today. For just $1.99 a month US and Canada, or $22 a year if you pay in advance, $4.99 a month international, $50 a year if you pay in advance, you'll never again be tardy to the party. I'll see you on the next broadcast. TonyaTKO.com/text. Are you tired of missing? All right. So welcome back, everyone. Welcome. For those of you who are here on the Text Notification Squad, throw your 10/10s up. There's over 800 people on the Text Notification Squad who get a text whenever I go live. It's $1.99 a month plus fees, or $22 for the year, or $4.99 a month if you're international, or $50 for the year. I'll put the link here. It's also in the description of the video, www.tonyacom/TEXT. And that way you never miss another live broadcast. You get a text whenever I'm going live. so that you're here for the show. Because, all of my shows, or most of them, are live. So Gothic Berry's the first person throwing up 1010. JJ's in the house. Hey, TKO Tech Squad. So yeah, if you want to join the Tech Squad and get a notification whenever I go live, the link is in the description. I just put the link inside of the comments, and I see that there are people who are, oh goodness, the people, some of you are still talking about some other stuff. All right, so I will, hey Tanisha, welcome, 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 all of you in the house. So let's continue going forward. Oh my goodness.
Then clearly we have some real serious things that are going on, but everything right now, my mental health, my health is being attacked. My child, the seed in me is being attacked. If I don't pull through this, not only am I going to die, my child is going to die.
Yes.
And I cannot get to a place to allow that to happen. And that's the scripture that really fueled me. And then like literally I knew 2 scriptures, which was that and helmet of salvation. So I went with the helmet of salvation. And
I'm proud of you, Queen. I'm proud of you because at the end of the day, if that's all you had to hold on to for your sanity, to be able to be present in your kid's life, there was that post for Mother's Day that he made. He made a post acknowledging you, and he made a statement of saying in times where you didn't have the strength to show up for yourself, of course you showed up for your kids. How'd you feel about that?
What? Like, that's how I felt. Like, what is going on here? I was completely confused. I'm like, somebody sit me down and explain this. We need to define a lot of things.
You didn't look at that as, wow, he celebrated me on Mother's Day?
No. And so that's where I'm like, okay, should I feel bad about that? Like, this is like a real internal doubt. Like, am I ungrateful? Am I, like, these are the questions that I'm going through, like, real time, real life. Like, I don't feel that. I feel confused about it. And I feel like, was that really for me? Because when I'm looking at it, I was blocked for months until apparently just recently, which I didn't even know I was unblocked.
Blocked from what? From social media? From
his social media. He blocked me on everything. And so I didn't even know I was unblocked. He didn't tag me in it. So I'm like, was that for me? And then my name is DA_NAIA. He didn't even have the decency to
spell your name right.
Spell my name right. And so I'm like, okay, am I being nitpicky because I want my name to be spelled right after all these years?
Well, I mean, it is your husband. I mean,
sure but I don't even know. Name. I mean, can we define all these things? Is that even a thing to add to?
Tell me, can we define husband?
Right? Can we? Is that? I don't even know if that's a thing to expect your husband to spell your name right. So, I have questions about it, and so I have real questions about it. Do I see in a general sense that it could be viewed as sweet and all that? Yes. I can recognize that, but then there's so many things like on the back end that is not acknowledged and that have been going on. So I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me. So now I'm just confused and I need somebody to explain it to me.
You said he didn't tag you, so it couldn't have been for you.
He didn't tag me in it. I didn't even know about the post until Monday, like at 9 p.m. My best friend is messaging me. We're having a conversation and she was like, girl, I almost hollered when I seen his post. And I was like, what post? And she was like, you didn't see the post? I'm like, he blocked me on everything. I ain't see nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not stalking his pages. Like I'm trying to build my stuff over here. I'm everything new. Right. And so she was like, hold please. So she sends me a screenshot and I'm like, what?
Yeah, they posted it on the Shade Room. It didn't go as planned because a lot of people saw right through it. A lot of people were mad at it. They was like, you made her a single mother, because he talked about, you been a mother, whatnot, and said, imagine this backhanded compliment. You've done all this. You drug this woman through. And they kept the part that they kept referencing was the part about you being able to show up for yourself at times when you couldn't show. I don't want to butcher what he said, but it was something about the being able to show up for yourself at times when it was hard for you.
So he's referencing, okay, this is how like crazy this is. He's referencing the post where I just told you guys about, where I knew her body better than I knew my own. And I had made a post and I'm like testifying like all the things I went through and all of the demonic spirits that I allowed into myself, like with just trying to do all the things that I was doing. And I said how it affected me. And that little segment of his post was referencing that, even down to our daughter. Like I had some issues, like just like with the complexion of our daughter, because that was the type of woman that he would go after. And I'm not dark, like super dark skinned woman. And our daughter's like a little chocolate little princess. She has it, and I'm just like, how does she look like the women that he wants?
Wow, that's deep.
How does she look like the women that he wants and he desires and he loves? Like, like, I don't understand. It's like they had her even though I carried her.
Woo!
You know what I'm saying? And so
Hold
I had
on.
to work out.
You gotta let that sit. You can't do it, Jesus. You said they had her even though you had her?
They had her even though I carried her. That's what I felt like for a long time. I had to really sit down and
because her skin tone represents the type of women that he would cheat on you with.
Yes.
Now she giving a damn blueprint of what the mother effer like. So now all these chocolate women who are looking for a bad time are gonna be like, oh, let me go rub on my cocoa butter. Lord have mercy.
Yes. And so then it just played on the rejection and the abandonment and the not like, choose me. What is there about me? Right? Our daughter even has everything that you like search for.
This ain't sitting well with me. This ain't sitting well with me. That she's talking about your daughter look like the type of women that you would choose, girl? What? Oh my goodness. This something about that just kind of creepy to me. I mean, the man is chocolatey. The thing is that if you look at the way that the information is being interpreted and spun in this woman's mind, isn't Derrick chocolatey? From what I remember his skin complexion is chocolatey. So you were with a chocolatey man and had a chocolatey baby, and he just so happened to be having these affairs with these chocolatey women, and that equates to, like, you look at your daughter and you're like, my daughter looks like these women that my husband. See, this is what I'm saying. This is why you have to choose yourself first. You have to choose yourself first, because then you end up in these situations with, remember I was talking about earlier about the type of pain that exists in seeing your husband or your partner, like you create this wrangle baby to wrangle a man into a relationship, and then you see him playing with this baby and being with this baby and loving this baby, and then the jealousy that can strike up inside of you. And now, even though she mated with a chocolatey man, she's now talking about these women had you, even though I carried you. No, dear, ain't no daggone mistake. If you are the mother, you carried that child. That is your child. And the child's complexion is coming from the chocolatey father. Was all of this worth it? That's the question. Was it worth it?
Or at least preference in a woman. Now, every woman wasn't dark skinned, clearly, but there's a preference in a type, and a lot of them were. And so even our daughter came out in that preference, and I'm like, and that I feel like the Lord did that intentionally so that I could really deal with that. I could really deal with that aspect, and be able to teach my daughters, because I have 2 girls now, but be able to teach them, and one's lighter and one's darker. Right. So I had the experience of being in this weird world where I'm trying to be these other women and all these things, but I had to really sit back and deal with that. It affected I feel like my ability to mother her and to nurture her and to just have that mother-daughter relationship that I always desired, but I didn't know how to get there because all this stuff was in the way. And so I had started.
I just need to pause. We might have to do the second half of this video tomorrow, because this video right here is getting really long. We are at the halfway mark, and this is his video is 2 hours, and we've been on for 2 hours. And we've only gotten through half of the video. So listen, I want you all to just really pay attention. Choose yourself first. Choose yourself first, because at the end of the day, was it worth it? Was it worth it? Was it worth it going through this situation to try to get this man and keep this man? And then now you're in this perpetual state of not feeling good enough, of not feeling chosen. You give birth to this man's children, and the children now are chocolatey like him, and you're thinking of the mistress and all this other stuff. At the end of the day, he married her. He married her. He doesn't have a bunch of children with a bunch of different women that we know of all around the place. He has children with her. And yet, wow, listen, you all, listen, the self-love lesson here, I want to know what you all feel the self-love lesson for yourself is in this whole situation. I want to know. I'm going to check the apples in a little bit, but I want to know, what is the self-love lesson that you are picking up on in this situation? What's the self-love lesson that you can take away? Because for me, it really boils down to, at the end of the day, you've got to choose yourself first. You've got to you've got to prioritize yourself. You've got to really, really, really center yourself. Wait, Miss LA is saying he does have outside children. I don't know about these. So send me the information so that I will know. Yeah. 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 Let's see. So come. Here's the self-love lessons coming on the screen now. Let's see. SOL, don't put a man above yourself, and most importantly, your kids. Decide, self-love needs to be taught early in life. Type SOL so I'll know that you're giving a self-love lesson. Self-love, always have someone on the side. I don't really know if that is, what's going on, what's going to really, really, really be what it is that you need to love yourself in a relationship. So if that's what you learned, don't let a man tell you twice he doesn't want you. Don't allow yourself to be blinded by false dreams that aren't your own. Never sacrifice your happiness, love, health, or sanity for a person who does not care about you. Pay attention to the red flags. Yeah, SLL, plan and exit. Yes. The thing is that there's a lot of power. It's like you wanted to be wife, but why? Why did you want to be wife? There's a lot of power in being wife. There's power in hiring people and being that integrated in a person's business. So how do you leverage that to be able to make sure that you're taken care of so that you have money on the side? Get healing from before you enter a relationship. Oh, from grape. Okay. Don't let anyone be more important to you than you are to yourself. value yourself and know, someone is saying finesse the Derrick Jaxn types. Is that really self-love? Why even involve yourself in a boondoggle with people that you don't really like? Why get caught up in all of that? Like, now I gotta finesse, now I gotta be this type of person, and you wasting your youth and your life finessing somebody how is that self-love? How is that bettering your life? Never look at a man as the prize. Take care of yourself always. Believe people when they first show you who they are. Don't accept lies and cheating under any circumstance. I feel you on that. I feel you. I feel you. That man ain't got no type. This is the thing. This is what I'm saying. He was with a lot of different women. However, the way that she internalized this, and really kind of placed this emphasis on her own child's complexion, that it affected the way that she could mother a child who was chocolatey like her husband. Let's see, SLL, people show up by action. Don't ignore their actions, the actions they show. SLL, take care of your mental health. If you're competing for a man with other women, he doesn't love you. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Make sure you recognize what a red flag is. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Exactly. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. I see a lot of people are resonating with that. Absolutely. Don't ever think you are not good enough for anything or anybody. I want to see some I statements. So this is your self-love lesson. So I want to hear from you that you will never think that you are not good enough. I say with the I will never think I'm not good enough for someone. SLL, don't go down that dark path, stalking, trying to become the other woman, competing for a man. Take care of save myself and heal, because these are your self-love lessons. How do you look at your baby and see your husband's side chick? This is what I'm saying. This is the way her mind works, but this isn't about her. This is a time for you to type your self-love lessons. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot going on. All right. So we're going to get into part 2 tomorrow. Let me check and see if there's any new apples. You can always send the cash apps after I'm off air as well. So yeah, I appreciate you all coming out. I'm going to give the self-love lesson that I learned from today's video. So go out there and love one another. Most importantly, love yourself. And the self-love lesson that I learned from today's video is, the self-love lesson that I learned for me is to, I'm going to be really honest with you. I thought about this in terms of life overall happiness in life, and overall choosing myself. Because it's easy to sit here and be like, oh, she needs to choose herself. She should put herself first. When some of us are in toxic relationships with parents, siblings, children, our boss, we're in toxic jobs that we don't like. We're not living our dreams. We're not living up to our potential. So instead of looking at her and be like, oh yeah, put yourself first, I'm going to look at myself and say, you know what? I need to prioritize myself and my goals, my dreams, my desires, and really, 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 in the same way that she didn't make sure that her finances were in order in that relationship, I need to make sure that my finances are in order right now. I need to make sure that I am doing the things that I need to do and can do to be able to live on my path. Another thing is that she stayed in the background, right? She stayed in the background and allowed this man, helped him make so much money, And then when all was said and done, couldn't get her own phone turned back on. So it's like, okay, we have got to we have got to look at where our lives are. I have to look at where my life is and make sure that I'm centering myself. This is the self-love lesson that I learned, to think about myself, my business, my finance. What is it that I'm doing? How do I stay on top of making sure that I am living my truth? Because apparently she was in a very painful situation. I hear an apple that just came through. I'm going to check that. She was in a very painful situation. Or is that what's going on? I heard the chime, right? So yeah, so that's so I think that that's I think that that is that right there. Another self-love lesson that I'm thinking about is the times that I said no to a relationship that I wanted, that I knew was not going to lead me where it is that I wanted to be. A relationship that my partner wanted, that I knew was not going to lead me where it is that I wanted to be. Because I thought about what it is that she said and how she was like, she was thinking about unaliving herself. And I remember when the very first person who wanted to spend his life with me, and I was really young, and I just I wasn't satisfied and fulfilled in this relationship. And I just thought about what my future would be like in a relationship with this person. And I knew that I would not want to live in a life like that. I mean, he was a great person at the time. You know, he had stuff going for him, but it just wasn't a good match. And I knew it wasn't a good match. And he would have been ecstatic, but I would have been so miserable. And so my self love lesson is to really be at peace with the internal wisdom of the decision that I made, and be at peace with letting something go and having the foresight to let it go, that I something that I knew just wasn't for me, something I knew just wasn't for me. All right. Okay. So on that note, let me make sure that I got all of the apples, and I will see you all in I'm supposed to be out and about tomorrow. However, if I can get on early enough before we head out and about, to participate in this Memorial Day weekend, if I can get on early enough, I'll probably go live early. So if you're on the text notification squad, you will get a text when I go live. Other than that, my I just want you all to, if you're seeing this video after we're live, just think about the self-love lessons that exist. Think about what it is that you can do to love yourself more. And realize that if somebody is not vibing with you, there's nothing wrong with you. Really, 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 really. It just means that you all are just not a good match. You just have to find somebody who is really down for you. Because at the end of the day, if you see from this situation, it really only erodes your self-esteem. It only erodes your inner self-love and your inner self-worth, tying yourself with a man who is not treating you in a way that makes you feel honored. Choose yourself. That's what I'm going to say. And I'm going to say that there have been times in my life where I have not always chosen myself first. There have been times in my life where I have discounted myself. So I speak from a place of experience. I speak from a place of being in situations where my own self-love began to erode. That's how I know that there's no rainbow at the end of there's no pot of gold at the end of that type of rainbow. If somebody is not treating you well, it only gets worse from there. And marriage does not solve it, because then now you have to figure out, how do you keep this person interested in a monogamous relationship? How do you keep this person interested in you as you go through age and body changes and health ups and downs and stuff like that? And if that person wasn't down for you and is not showing you all that you need to be shown as a woman, I know from personal experience that it's painful. It's painful. And I will see you all in the video hopefully tomorrow. So go out there and love one another. And most importantly, love yourself. And I'm your host, Tonya TKO. And I am out. Peace.